Hello everybody, welcome to another Yu-Gi-Oh! Deck video profile. This time around I'm bringing you some Salamangreat. Before you guys turn off the video and because you already got to see the deck profile, I'm going to ask you to actually wait this time around because I do have a replay to show you where the deck actually gets to do. You get to see essentially everything the deck is able to do. Not only do you get to see the deck trying to stop a few plays, but you also get to see the deck going OTKing, so you get to see like the type of combos that you want to do with the deck. Anyway, so I'm quickly going to give you my 2 cents because I'm going to try to keep this video as short as I can. Salamangreat is a deck that you should definitely look out for because the deck has a ton of potential due to a few reasons. One, it's a Cyverse deck, which means it can use pretty much all the good generic Cyverse support. 2, it's an archetype for Cyverse, meaning it has like its exclusive cards that are just good for Salamangreats. And also, because the deck is an anime deck, it means that it's bound to get good support, or not even good support, just bound to get support throughout the Vrain's era. But yeah, this deck has been popping up in the OCG for a few reasons, mostly due to how consistent the deck is at making its decent boards and just how versatile the deck is in terms of not only deck building but the ways you can play the deck and the plays you're able to make with the deck. That's all thanks to Salamangreat Gazelle, which is just a really good starter slash extender. And really what the deck tries to do with Gazelle is to send the trap cards, or the trap cards if you're going first, or the spell if you're going second, and then you get them back with Salamangreat Sunlight Wolf. And once you do that, you're basically trying to get your Stalio onto the field, so Stalio can summon something like the Jaguar, so you have just more monsters on the field to link Climb if you need to, or you can just, make sure you have the Jaguar out of the deck so you don't actually draw into it, and then you can use it for recycling your Salamangreat cards. So you can Reincarnation Link very easily. Which is why if you look at my extra deck, I'm pretty much just playing like the minimum of all the cards that I have to play. Some people like 3 Valence, I think that's a little bit overkill. I think 2 is absolutely fine. Although the only Salamangreat card you actually have to play as a 3 of is Sunlight Wolf because of how good it is. And Heat Leo, you basically, when you Reincarnation Link Heat Leo, most of the time you're gonna win that game anyway. But if you need to put the one of the copies back, you can do it with Jaguar or your Salamangreat Mole. One thing that this deck, one of the things that the OCG has that this deck doesn't in the TCG is the Speedride Terratop engine. Currently the OCG has 2 Terratop, meaning it's actually worth running the 2 Terratop in the 1 deck on Tomborg, because Mirage Stalio is a generic level, a generic rank 3 Xyz, meaning you can easily make it with Speedride Terratop. Yeah, so before I talk a little bit more about the deck and, show you the replay, I'm going to give you guys a friendly reminder to, at the end of the video, if you did enjoy this video, feel free to leave a like, comment, and subscribe, as just shows me that you like what I'm doing and you want to keep up with my Yu-Gi-Oh! Content. Anyway, like I said, 2019, I'm going to try upload a little bit more to the channel so you guys have like a more consistent upload schedule. I'm going to try get at least a video once every week, even if it's like a replay slash deck profile. I'm going to try do both of them in one video so that way you get like the full experience. Anyway, so because this deck in a way reminds me of Zodiac in the sense that you are able to play like a bunch of trap cards, you're able to play good hand traps, you're able to play protection cards, and most of your combos really rely on you just having like 1 or 2 cards, and for the most part everything else that you draw just allows you to do different variations of certain combos. But in terms of the Salamangreat monsters, it kind of reminds me of Burning Abyss because you're playing like the 3, you're playing like the 2 main ones that you play as a 3 of, so you're playing like the 2 Scarman, the 2 Farfa in the form of the Gazelles and the Spinnies because they are your main playmakers, but then you're also playing like one of each of the other ones because not only do they act as names, but they also have their own cool, cute uses in the deck. So for example, Jaguar allows you to extend combos, but also recycle things that you need. Foul is pretty good to deal with some back row as well as just a good card to extend. Also, it's a level 4, meaning you can sometimes make Baguska. Lady Debug is just super generic and it's a phenomenal card, to open up with because of the effect that allows you to search for level 3 or lower Cyvers, and that's exactly what you want. You want to get access to your Gazelles, you want to get access to your Spinnies, and you want to get access to things like your backup secretary. Falco and Mia are very good because they have a cool interaction that you can do with them, where you discard the Falco off Mia, and then when Falco's in the graveyard, you can bounce back the Mia to your hand to special summon itself, and then when Mia is added to the hand, you can special summon Mia, and then that way you're able to go into Valence and then go into Sunlight Wolf, and you can generate a little bit of advantage there. And for the rest of the deck, you know, you have things like your Raccoon, which is your battle hand trap, quote unquote. It's pretty good, gives you life points, you're able to recycle it every turn, and it's just a solid name to have. Mole is by far like one of the best recovery cards in the deck because it's able to shuffle 5 Salamangreat cards from your graveyard into the deck, and then it allows you to draw 2 cards, so you generate a ton of advantage through Salamangreat Mole. And not only that, the card can also special summon itself from the hand, which is phenomenal. And the other thing that I want to cover is quickly the backup secretary and the Foxy. So some people in the OCG play 3 Foxy because it's a level 3 Salamangreat card. However, I don't agree with that as much because I think Lady Debug does the same job as Foxy, just a little bit better because it gives you the card that you need more, and you don't really have to gamble as much with Foxy. And then instead of playing the 3rd Foxy, I play the backup secretary because you can switch it off the Lady Debug, and it's a level 3 Cypher's card that can special summon itself, and it allows you to extend. Another thing, Ash Blossom and Joy Spring, the reason why you play this card is because it's a fire hand trap, meaning you can recover it with Salamangreat Wolf, which is really, really good, and also it has 0 attack, which makes it absolutely amazing to use with Helios effect when you have to modify something's attack. So if you make its attack 0, then Violet Chimera basically just one-shot kills it, because Violet Chimera is able to do an insane amount of damage. You're definitely playing Call by the Graves in this deck because you don't want your combos to be disrupted, and you want to make sure you have a way to protect your combos, or you have a way to disrupt the opponent combos. So that's just really, really good. And finally, for your trap card selection, usually you want to play like 3 of the Salamangreat trap cards. You're playing the 2 Roar and the 1 Rage. I think this is by far the most common ratio. But also you want to play other trap cards, and for the time being, I'm experimenting with Breakthrough Skills and Lost Winds because they generate me extra value from the ability to use them from the graveyard or being able to reset them, which is quite good since this deck doesn't really have a lot of built-in negation that isn't your trap cards. However, Breakthrough Skill is absolutely amazing because it has that ability to negate something, and also you can use it for in the graveyard to stop an effect from being activated. So if you need to negate something like a Crystal Wing or whatever, you can easily do that with Breakthrough Skill, which I think makes this card absolutely amazing. For the side deck, my side deck really is just like a different selection of cards that you can experiment with, although I think the Speedride Terratop engine the Speedride Terratop engine is definitely going to see play as soon as Speedrides as soon as Terratop gets put to like 2 or 3. That's absolutely amazing. And then the 3 cards that you're definitely going to include once they come out in Dark Neostorm are the Salamangreat Fennec, the Signet Mining, and the Salamangreat Recurrence. You'll probably end up playing like 1 Fennec, 1 Recurrence, and 3 Mining. Mining is a phenomenal search that also sets up your graveyard. Fennec can be summoned off Mirage Stalio, and then when it's into the graveyard, it can add you your Salamangreat Recurrence, and Recurrence can add 2 Salamangreat cards from the graveyard to your hand, which is really, really good. They have to be monsters though. But also you can set it to jabait your opponent into thinking it's a trap card, and when it's destroyed, you can add any Salamangreat spell trap card from the deck, which is also pretty good. If you need to add things like your Will of the Salamangreat, or your Salamangreat Fusion of Fire, or even Salamangreat Circle, you're easily able to do that with setting the Recurrence. One other thing you can do in this deck is, instead of playing these trap cards, you can play things like the Forbidden Chalices and the Infinite Impermanences, because of how good they are at stopping the opponent's plays by being a quote-unquote hand trap, in the sense that like they are a hand trap, but they are not really a monster hand trap. They're not like one of the Ghost Girls, and they can't really be called by the Grave, which is pretty good, making them a little bit more effective in that sense. If you're a budget player, I think Forbidden Chalice is really, really good, and if you're more of if you're more of a guy with the fat wallet, you can easily get Infinite Impermanences. Or you can easily play some Solemns. Solemns are also really good, but if you don't have Solemns, you can play Bottomless Trap Hole, which is just as effective. You just don't get to negate that effect. And that's pretty much it for the deck. I mean, my list is pretty solid. I just got it from different lists online, refined it, added my own spice to it, and made it so that like anyone can just pick up this list and play. It's very, very easy to pilot once you know how to do the staple combos for the deck. And yeah, let's go into the replay, where you get to see the deck not only going first, but you also get to see how the deck OTKs my opponent. So I'm playing against Arcust. My opponent didn't really have the best start, but it was definitely a start that, like, if I didn't have an Ash Blossom interruption, he probably could have extended and ended on a pretty respectable board. But unluckily for him, I had my Rage. However, he forces out my back row with the Twin Twister, which is fine. and then I Ash Blossom his Dark Grepher. But he's able to make his plays. I mean, he ends on a decent board. Now, here, I completely forgot that World Crown can tribute itself to negate something, so I kind of just freely extend thinking I got this, and he negates it. And that's basically one of the reasons why I almost lost the duel, because I forgot to play around that card. Anyway, I negate his second Dark Grepher, because I don't want him to get his Arcus cards onto the graveyard. And then I'm just going to basically get rid of his Dark Grepher with Rage, so he can't use its effect again if he draws into a high level monster or something. And from here on, I'm really just trying to like recover all my resources or draw into something that allows me to make a bother where I can either OTK him or do as much damage as possible and make sure that he can't really do anything back. So I draw into the Salamangreat Roar, which is not the best draw because I need to have a Salamangreat Link monster onto the field, but that's okay because he starts popping off a little bit. He basically gets like all the cards that he needs to end on his Arfagel Prime, I believe. So yeah, I don't really know how. I mean, I do have a little bit of a clue how Arfagel was played, but I knew more or less what he was going to end up on. And that is the topologic Bomber Dragon. So Bomber Dragon is very problematic for the deck because if I summon anything into a Link Zone, my board gets blown up and that's not very good. So I have to get rid of it as quickly as possible. Now, if you did, I'm going to pause the video here to show you what I did. So first of all, I had the Fusion of Fire set, so I just made my Link monster, and then because he had a topologic on the field, I just fused away I think it was my Foxy with Fusion of Fire to make my Valachimera, and he brings back the Galatea. I get to summon my Gazelle, and then with Gazelle, I send, I think, Will of the Salamangreat, and the reason why I did this was because I wanted to end on a wide board. I knew he couldn't use the Arfagel attack right away, so I wanted to make sure like I had a wide board, so even if he used it, he would still die at some point. So here I'm just basically extending as much as I can to deck thin for all my resources, as well as end on a pretty wide board, you know, having lots of things with decent attack. But he drew into an Arfagel card and tried to use Prime, but I had the Salamangreat Roar. Since Wolf is a Salamangreat Link monster, I can use my Roar. And here he's ending on, I believe, Prime Galatea. Yes, he's ending on Prime Galatea. So, I basically suicide my Wolf because I wanted to be in the graveyard so I can free up that Link Zone. And you'll see why I wanted to do that. So here I get to deal with his cards, and now I'm basically going to do the OTK. So to do that, I need to get my resources back, and by putting Falco into the graveyard, I get to reset my Fusion of Fire, and by using Jagu's effect, I get to put the Valachimera back into the deck, so I can now Fusion of Fire into Valachimera, and here is where the magic happens. So, Helios Reincarnation Link summoned, and I get to reset my Roar because I Reincarnation Link summoned, so I make his card 0, attack with Valachimera, its attack gets doubled, and I deal 10,000 damage to my opponent. So that was a pretty exciting duel, I think. And with that, that's pretty much it for this video. In this video, you actually got to see like the deck build, and you actually got to see what the deck wants to do going first, and you actually got to see the play that the deck more or less wants to do going second. Except I wasn't going second, I just did it like 5 turns late. But yeah, that's pretty much it for this video. Again, if you guys enjoyed this video, don't forget to leave a like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next one.